Guys, look, I get it. I totally get it. You opened a martial arts school and man, it's kind of crushing you. There's all this other stuff to do other than teach, right? You love teaching. You love jiu-jitsu. You love Muay Thai. You love karate, whatever it is you're teaching. And man, but there's all this other stuff. There's the front desk. There's taxes. There's curriculum. There's cleaning. There's problems, staffing, covering. Whew, man, it's so much. It's so much. Well, let me tell you, we have started what's called Easton Online. And Easton Online is here to solve all of these problems for you. Easton Online is a digital academy for martial arts school owners and managers. We'll help you establish or enhance your business with best practices. Most importantly, we're going to help you get back to what it is that you love most, teaching and doing martial arts. Okay, so for more information, guys, go to easton.online. Again, that's easton.online. Add your email. You're going to get notified about the course launches. Our first course is going to be all about the first impression specialists, your front desk, and all kinds of stuff, special offers, promotions, as well as we started a podcast by the same name, Easton Online, that's going to talk about our process of how we went from a tiny little martial arts school to what is now 7 martial arts schools, 7 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Muay Thai schools, in a very holistic way that we believe kept the integrity of the art and also deals with its people very well. So again, easton.online, enter your email and you're going to get everything you need right there. So thanks, guys. Hey guys, don't forget to check out my book by the same name as the podcast, The Gospel of Fire. It is on Amazon. So just go on amazon.com, The Gospel of Fire, or you can just simply search my name as well, Eliot Marshall, and it will pop up. You can buy the Kindle version or the paperback version. I appreciate the support, and it just kind of goes up in about my life a little bit as a memoir-ish to self-help-ish type book, but check it out. Leave a review if you so choose and you find it helpful or unhelpful, either way. So amazon.com and then search The Gospel of Fire. Guys, the podcast is also brought to you by Onnit, ONNIT, Human Optimization Company. Again, code word Eliot is the code word for your order on Onnit. You will receive 10% off. Again, ONNIT, all kinds of stuff for human optimization. They have supplements. They have the Total Human. They have all kinds of stuff. Alpha Brain. I love me some Alpha Brain every once in a while when I know I got to sit down, get some work done. The brain just kicks in a little bit. I've enjoyed using the Shroom Tech Sport. It gives that little extra boost when I'm getting ready to go do a workout. So again, ONNIT, code word Eliot, and you will receive 10% off your order. Guys, this podcast is being brought to you by Evo Labs. Evo Labs is a cannabis company who has some of the best CBD products on the market. I really enjoy all their CBD products. They have an intense salve. That is my favorite product, where deals with muscle soreness. You rub it on your muscles. You rub it on your body after a shower, and really helps relieve the soreness. The other CBD products, all kinds of different ones that you can intake or use, some for sleeping, some for stress and anxiety. Anyway, evolabs.com. Go check them out, and you type in the code word FIRE and you will receive 10% off your order. evolabs.com. Ever have sore, beat up fingers after jiu-jitsu? We all have, right? Ever wish there was a better way to ice them down than sticking your fingers in a cup of ice water? Well, now there is. Penguin Fingers. Invented by a jiu-jitsu black belt, Penguin Fingers remove the soreness from your fingers or your toes in just minutes, allowing you to train harder and longer with less damage to your digits. Chronic inflammation is like sand in your joints. Training day in and day out with sore, irritated fingers can leave them arthritic and knobby. Penguin Fingers can stop all of that before it ever starts. Penguin Fingers non-toxic, reusable individual finger ice packs come in boxes of 1, 2, or 4 soft gel sleeves. Simply keep them in your freezer and roll them out onto sore fingers or toes as they are needed. Available on Amazon or at penguinfingers.com. Fingers are life tools. Protect them. Use code 10THEFIRE and you will receive 10% off at checkout. Again, 10THEFIRE for 10% off at checkout at penguinfingers.com. Hey guys, this is former UFC fighter Eliot Marshall, and this is the Gospel of Fire, where we're going to go through the fire to learn how to live the best life possible. This week on the episode, I have the one and only Alberto Crane. Alberto Crane is one of Amal Easton's best friends, and that's how he and I know each other. We have known each other from the very beginning of my jiu-jitsu time with Amal. So it's been about 20 years now. 20 years I've been on this jiu-jitsu journey. So yes, so some great stories about just life and in general, life with Amal. You know, more Amaling, which I give credit to the whole thing that we all have going on here. And yeah, just some great stories of how to overcome. You know, Alberto gets into like his competition and how poorly it went at first and then where he ended up. So, man, the one and only Alberto Crane. All right, here I am, another episode, Gospel Fire. Man, I am sitting out on a patio in sunny California, and I got a road episode with my man Alberto Crane. What up?
Hey, Eliot. How's it going? How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Good.
You just got back from somewhere. Where'd you just get back from?
So I went on vacation with my family. Went to Armenia for a couple of weeks. Actually stopped in Dubai.
Because your wife's Armenian, correct?
My wife's Armenian, yeah.
Okay.
So we've been going the last few years. It's a pretty cool place, man. It's really the first Christian country. It's older than Rome. The city of Yerevan is older than Rome. There's a lot of history there, you know. Like if you go to the Jerusalem and there's four quarters.
Yeah.
There's an Armenian quarter too, so a lot of history. So it's pretty cool. You know, it's a Christian country surrounded all by Muslim countries. So it's an interesting place for sure.
Is it safe? Does that make it unsafe, or is it pretty safe?
No, it's really safe. It's really safe. You know, it's really safe. They actually have like the second largest American embassy there. It's really safe, super safe, and People are starting to discover it, you know, because it's not too far from Europe. It's it's all right on the Caucasus Mountains, you know, yeah, it's really, really nice. We've been going this is our third year.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we stopped in Europe on the way back because when I was a kid, I lived in Munich, Germany for like 7 years, so I got to go with my kids to my old neighborhood and
to your stomping grounds.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. You know, it was pretty cool. We got to play in my old playground that I used to play in. You know, there's like a chessboard there, and so we played a game of chess.
That big chessboard, right? I saw that on the ground.
Yeah. So it was really cool, and they loved it there. So I was pretty happy. It was pretty
nice. How long did you live in Europe, man?
Man, I moved there when I was like 4, and I came back when I was about 11.
Oh, so a long time.
Yeah, so I think almost 7 years, you know.
So do you speak German?
I speak German. I'm rusty, you know, but if I stay like a few weeks, you know, like I'll be okay, and I can get by. I can, you know, say what I want, and
right.
I can communicate. So it's good. It's good.
And then, so where did you live? So 4 years old, you go to Europe. You live there till 7. Where did you live before Europe?
So I was, Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Okay.
And then we moved to Europe, moved to Munich, and we ended up staying there, until I was like I think I was 11 or 12, I'm not sure, something like that. And we came back for a year because I actually forgot how to speak English. So my mom we came back for a year because I wasn't responding in English because I was going to German schools and everything.
Sure.
And then they had that Chernobyl accident around that time too.
Oh, Chernobyl! Did you watch that shit on?
I heard about it.
Dude,
I heard about it, but the acid rains in Europe. So my mom, she's like, I think we should go to to the U.S.
Bro,
so
you gotta go watch that show, man.
Yeah, I heard about it. I'm gonna watch it.
I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's this one scene, right? There's this one scene where like it's still getting crazy. And and like the only way to stop the crazy was to get someone to go in there,
Yeah, and they know they're gonna die, right?
Yeah, it's like,
and they still have to go in.
I mean, I guess someone's got to go, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like you're gonna die, or
everyone's gonna die,
and families, and everybody's gonna die. So
yeah, that must be a weird, trippy mindset, right?
You got to do it, You got to do it.
It's still a weird thing, right? Like, I mean, like, you're gonna die. It's not even like war. Like, like the guys getting off the ship at D-Day. There was a real high possibility that they were gonna die, right? But like, they didn't know they were gonna die. Like this one, it's like, yo, dude, checkmate, homie.
Yeah, and kind of brutal too, huh? Like melting away and stuff.
Yeah, not like you just get shot in the head and then it's over, or you're like, ugh, yeah. Oh God, that would be terrible. Yeah. But anyway, so you were there for that, huh?
Well, I wasn't in Chernobyl. I was in Europe, and so the way the wind blew, it blew over like Scandinavia and Europe,
right?
And so that was around the time I was there, and so my mom was like, "We're gonna." That's it was just all the things combined. I wasn't speaking English, and that accident happened. So she's like, "We're gonna go back for a year."
Fuck that, man.
And so we moved back to.
It wasn't your English. That's just what she told you, homie.
Yeah,
it was like Chernobyl happened, and like, yeah, we're gonna die. We're out.
Yeah. I mean, all the food, everything, right, got contaminated.
Yeah. Oh, it was terrible.
So it was a crazy time for sure.
Do you know Russia's now saying that was an American propaganda show, and they're gonna make their own Chernobyl documentary, showing how it was the U.S. that made Chernobyl explode.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is there was like a lot of contamination. They didn't even say that anything happened.
Yeah,
so. It was all like, I think it started with the Scandinavian countries being like, what's going on with the rain? And they something like that, like they figured out that there was a nuclear accident.
Yeah, no, they weren't saying shit. Yeah, Russia didn't say anything to anybody.
They didn't say anything. Yeah, they didn't say anything.
They didn't say anything.
And then they had to admit it.
Right. Okay. But what I'm saying is now Russia is saying that the whole thing was because of the U.S. Okay, and that the show Chernobyl was U.S. propaganda against Russia. And they're going to make their own documentary series on like their Netflix or whatever to show how it was the U.S. that did all of this, and no mistakes by Russia whatsoever.
Yeah, sure. I mean, what do we know, right?
Yeah.
Who do we know? Maybe it's true, right?
Maybe it's true.
Who do we know?
Trump 2020. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like him or love him or hate him, we have a reality star as the president. So who knows what's true, man?
Who knows?
So, when did you get into martial arts, man? Like when did that thing happen for you? When did that?
So I mean, well, when I was in, I think I was in high school. When I was a kid in New Mexico, actually, when we went back for that 1 year, I wrestled. They had a junior wrestling program in Santa Fe. Mm-hmm. New Mexico, and so I wrestled there for a year, and then obviously I liked it because I did it. And then after high school, or during high school, I had a friend that did kickboxing, and he would show me like some things, and I was really into it, but I never really had a martial arts, place that I would go to.
So that friend was not Amal yet, though, because I know he.
No. Okay. So I was still in high school because I went to high school in New York City.
Okay, got it.
So I lived there for like, 8th grade. I moved out there.
That's right. The boating episode. You came from New York. Yeah. We'll get to that, bro. We'll get to all of this, Alberto. How we all get wrapped up in a mauling.
Yeah. So I went to high school in New York City, and then it was when I was 18. Right after high school, I was working at a restaurant, and Amal Easton and a few of the guys were doing jiu-jitsu. Actually, this really small guy named Jerome Short, and he armbarred me. He's like, they tried to get me to do jiu-jitsu for, I don't know, a bunch of months, and finally I went. And this little guy, he was like the bartender, the bartender manager armbarred me like 10 times, and I was like, let's go again. I couldn't believe that he did that, and after that I was addicted. I just wanted to learn more and more and more. And at the beginning there was only one class a week, then there was twice a week, and then I trained. I made my whole schedule so I could make those classes, and it was kind of a funny time because the coach was like, don't show anybody anything. Like, he's super like kind of secretive, you know. Those times
back in those days.
Yeah, and then Amal went to Brazil, and the guy was our coach was a former Navy SEAL, and he's going back in. So he was talking to me about the Navy SEALs and all that. So I thought I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. And so I went out I did all this training, like this, you know, underwater, the scuba diving.
I'm going to cut you for a second. Hold on. I'm going to cut you for a second. Everyone's got to understand Alberto here for a second. If there's one person in this world that is more evangelical than me, it's Alberto. Like, I'm an evangelical motherfucker. Like, whatever I'm doing, I think it's the best. And I'm going to tell everyone about it. Like, I'm making every coffee store I walk into, I video myself going in the goddamn coffee store, you know, because I'm evangelical, right? But you might tie me. So when Alberto says that he thought he was going to, like, I'm sure everyone you even came in contact with was hearing about your Navy SEAL adventures.
Yeah, man. I mean, I moved to Missouri. I moved in the middle of fucking Missouri. You know, like in this small town with cows and pastures on this trailer. He had like all these like shooting ranges.
I'm okay. Sorry. I got nowhere else to do this podcast, and I had to do a podcast. I'm sorry. All right. Sorry about that. All right, I'm on. Like I said, I'm literally on the patio of a house, you know. And this family just came outside to eat breakfast, and I was like, "Oh shit, man! Like, am I too loud?" But he said the dad said I'm good. All right. Anyway, so you're in Missouri. Go ahead.
Good. Yeah, so I'm in Missouri with cows and everything. I'm running. I'm doing my cold showers and just whatever, getting into the mindset, reading a bunch of books and stuff to get me in the mindset. And then I actually tried to go into the Navy, and my blood pressure was high for some reason. I was 18, right? And I was super healthy. But for whatever reason, I got nervous when they did the test, and they're like, okay, we're going to review this. And so in that meantime, I went to Missouri, and I did all this training to prepare me for the BUDS, for the Navy SEAL, for the course, right?
Right. To
become a Navy SEAL. And then I came back after that, and Amal came back from Brazil. And he started showing me all these things he learned in Rio de Janeiro, and I started training in his garage every single day, like all day, you know, like
a good evangelical would, Alberto.
I mean, you know, I went, you know, and so it was breaking my mom's heart that I was gonna go, you know, try to become a Navy SEAL, like go into the Navy and all that, go into the military. And so then after maybe like a month or so with a mall, I was like, you know, I changed my mind. I think I'm not going to go in, you know, because actually they came back, the Navy came back, and they're like, okay, you can go in now. And I'm like, It's okay. And I went a different way. I almost went into the Navy. I actually signed up, and then because the blood pressure thing, they didn't let me in, and I waited, and whatever, it was like a higher. I can't explain it, right? But
sure. You have no clue.
I could have totally gone into the Navy.
Yeah.
And then Amal came back, and I started training in his garage every day, and he took me to a couple tournaments out here in LA. There was only a few at the time, right?
I want to back up for a sec. Hold on, I'm going to cut you off. I want to back up for a sec. The time that guy armbarred you 10 times. You know, Look, it's such a weird thing. Like people either go one way or the other with that. Like for me, sounds like for me and you, and for a lot of us, especially back then, you know, like that bug catches us, and like you can't get that out of your mind, and you're like, I got to go learn that. And then like some other people, it scares them. You know, and I talked to my buddy Chris Reese about it, who's a police officer, one of our black belts. And he's like, and he did, you know, he's still to this day, man. I've had Henzo, I've had Hiron, I have Draculino, I've had Homolo, I've had Rashad Evans, I've had a lot of like big names on the podcast, right? And Chris Reese, somebody that no one's ever heard of, is still to this day the #1 podcast I've done with the most downloads, which is crazy, you know?
Nice.
I mean, I even have a podcast with sex in the title, and that one didn't get it. You know, like you would think that everyone would click on that. On YouTube, everyone clicked on that. Yes.
Interesting.
But he was like, look, he even said it. He's like, I can't understand. He's like, I understand why all cops don't train. It's because they get scared, right? Like they get beat up like this, and then they're like, they want to like act as if that won't happen to them. Because like they're in it so deeply out in the field every day, you know. And for you and I, like I want like that didn't happen. Like you got bit by the bug, somebody fucked you up, right? And then I got bit by the bug, and then you're just like, whoa, this can't happen. Yeah, right. This can't happen again. Like I need to learn all of that. Yeah. What is that? I wonder. Yeah. You know.
I mean, how deep can we want to go, right? What do we know? But man. Really, our self-image, like from our mom and our parents, whatever we you know, they're telling us who we are and how we grew up, of thinking of ourselves, right? And then that happens, and like, what, you know, we have to figure this out, learn this, right?
Yeah, but I'd never even been. I mean, the only fights I'd ever been in at that point in my life, I lost. Yeah, I got beat up, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing, you know. I mean, I used to think jiu-jitsu is for everybody, but it's not for everybody, right? Not everybody can. Everybody can do it, of course, you know, but it's just not for everybody, right? Somebody's sweating in somebody else's mouth and eyeball, like girls and stuff. It's not their thing, you know. You know, but I think everybody should learn the basics, right? But you know, it's not for everybody, right? But
I disagree with you. I think it's for everyone. It can be for everyone. They just have to be shown the path correctly.
Yeah, I guess, you know,
I don't. Yeah,
it's true.
Like, I know it's not
true. I mean, I'm all about it. I used to think it was for everybody, and it can be for everybody. Like you're saying, I think it's for everybody. I think so too, you know. But the bottom line, the truth is, like, not everybody's going to want to do it.
Well, true. Reality, we know that, right.
So you know, like, you know, my mom, she got her blue belt. She was in there. She was in her mid-60s, you know. Mm-hmm. She trained for like 3.5 years or something like that, you know.
Sure, my wife got a blue belt. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, you know. So it's you know, but not everybody wants to do it, right? Not everybody wants to do it. It's not their thing, and it's okay. That's okay. I've accepted that.
If they're around me long enough, I can hear the pain in your voice, man. I can hear the pain in your voice. How you say that.
If they're around me long enough, for sure they're gonna do it. You know, like my mom did it, my younger sister, my baby sister, like everybody's done it. You know, everybody's done it. That's near me.
Yeah, because they need you to. They need you to shut up, man. That's what I'm saying. You're just evangelical. They're like, fine, Alberto. Fine. I'll do it. Like, oh my God, I'll do it. Okay, I'll try. I'll check this out.
Pretty much.
But that's what makes you amazing, man. So I have this thing that everything that makes us amazing is what makes us terrible as well. Yeah. You know, so like this is annoying. Like, I'm annoying as I get it. You know, like some people want to be like, yo, Eliot, stop talking about coffee. You know, like, stop, man. Stop talking. Just stop it. And other people are hitting me up on Instagram going, yo, I'm in this town. Can you tell me where to get coffee? Can you look it up so I can know whether the coffee spot is good? So it's like, you know, it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's all good. We can't make everybody happy, right? Just got to be ourselves.
You got to be yourself.
The world needs us to be ourselves. So
you have to be your true, authentic self and try to help people. That's the goal. Try to sprinkle the. I say it every podcast. Sprinkle the luck dust on other people in the world.
Yeah, that's it.
But okay, back to your journey. So you met them all, and there it was.
I was 18, right? I was 18, yeah. So we started training in his garage every day. I started learning all these things. They showed me all the pictures, all the, you know, just the stories and everything else. And then I went to a couple tournaments in Los Angeles, and I lost. I think he took me to one tournament. He took me to one tournament, and I lost the tournament. It was like first match. It was like 0-0. You know, and then I got. Speaking about the bug even like more, right?
Did you lose something like your first 10 tournaments or something like that?
Yeah, so it started so that was the first one, right? And then he went back to Brazil shortly after, And there weren't that many tournaments back then. There was on Santa Cruz, like in LA, maybe.
It was impossible.
And there was like these karate tournaments, right? You remember those Colorado karate tournaments? I went up
baby.
to those.
I gave that TV away a little while ago.
Yeah, I won a TV, right?
I think we all have won the TV. I think me, you, and Amal have all won the TV. So back in the day, guys, look, there was like everyone's used to it now. I mean, like Fight to Win travels, putting on pro events all over the country every goddamn weekend. Yeah, that wasn't how it was. Like to find a tournament in the late '90s was, I mean. And you were even mid 90s,
early 2000s, yeah,
early 2000s.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was impossible. Yeah. It was impossible.
Yeah.
There was a mat set up at karate tournaments in Colorado,
grappling division,
for the grappling division, and the winner of the grand champion got this. I mean, and this so when we say big screen TVs, it was like you got to remember we're talking 20 years ago. So a big screen TV, that thing was huge. It wasn't the plasma that it is today, right? So you would win this
heavy.
TV, and you'd have to go get like a U-Haul, man, to get this thing back to your house. Right, like
pretty much,
right?
Pretty
it was
much,
impossible,
yeah, pretty much.
And I think
pretty much,
it was me, you, and Amal. I think we went. I think it went bang, bang, bang. You, me, Amal. A couple years in a row.
And when it gets, and it was all like there was no. It was pretty much like submission, right? Mm-hmm. Submission and aggressiveness. It was kind of good, right? The rules in a way, because the guy who was more aggressive or tried to submit, like it was more like fight rules, right? But they had like sambo guys, judo guys, like some high level judo guys.
Yeah.
And we were definitely representing jiu-jitsu back in those days. So it was cool.
It was amazing. Cool. I loved it. I loved those days. Yeah. It doesn't happen so much anymore, right? Like people don't really walk in your academy for challenge matches anymore.
Yeah.
Like those days are over a little bit, like everyone.
Yeah. Everybody accepts that.
Everyone accepts it, right? Like the sun rises in the east. And sets in the west, and if you walk into jiu-jitsu school with a challenge match, you're gonna get fucked up, so nobody does it anymore. But it used to happen, right? It used to happen. It was fun.
So did all those tournaments, and so then I started competing, right? And I did whatever tournaments I could do, and so that I won the TV, but that wasn't until a few years later. Actually,
purple belt. You were probably purple or brown.
But by the time I won TV, I was brown belt. So
right.
So speaking of that, I'm going back to, because before then they didn't have any white belt division tournaments. It was only blue belt and up, and so everybody's pretty good. People, they were seasoned, seasoned guys, and I was just a kid from Santa Fe, New Mexico, right? But I'm competing, and so I started like going wherever I could go, and it took me. So, and then shortly after that, I went down to Brazil. So that continued to compete, me competing in Brazil. And those guys are super seasoned, right? The blue belts there,
dude, compared
to, just coming from New Mexico.
Yeah.
And so I ended up losing, like, man, I think like my first like 13 tournaments, either first or second match. And that spanned over like 3 years. And so it was really hard. 3 years, almost 3 years. And so it was like 90, maybe not 3 years. It was like 2.5 years. Either way, it seemed like an eternity. Uh-huh. And so like 1998. So I remember started like in 96, right? I think 96, something like that, 95, 96. So around that, around 3 years. And so I kept going, and he was like, well, first or second match. And, like sometimes, it was really close, or I just didn't know how to compete, armbar, just all kinds of stuff, right? And then I finally won my first tournament in Brazil. So I went to six. I was going to go back a little bit. So this is like 97, I think. I went to Brazil for 6 months to stay with them all in Rio de Janeiro. Because after that,
on the island, right? You're on the
island, yeah. And so he asked me, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you bring me my kayak?
Yes.
And so I was like, yeah, sure. And so then I went to go to his house and pick it up. And he's like, yeah, just put some. You figure it out, and he didn't give me instructions, right? Oh yeah, sure. Bring it.
Bro, I'm gonna rag on him a little bit. We're still dealing with this bullshit that he does. It's a mauling. I get it. It's why we're all great. But like,
that's why we're all here. That's why we're talking.
Exactly. That's why we're all talking. I'm sitting on this patio in Newport Beach because of a mall.
Yeah. Yeah.
But damn, can you do it with no instructions? I'm out. Right? I'm out.
So I filled it up, wrapped cardboard around it, got a bunch of boxes and just wrapped it around it with like tape pretty much, right? took it to the airport, and they're like, yeah, they'll take it. Of course you have to pay the extra fee, whatever, the extra fee for a kayak, a river kayak, right? It's not even like a ocean kayak. And so then I went from New Mexico to New York, and then my dad, he had to strap it to the top of his car. He's like, "You kidding me? Like, he'll never forget that, And so we went to LaGuardia, or I don't know, one of those airports, Newark, and flew to Rio de Janeiro, and Amal picked me up, and where I stopped in Henzo's, and Henzo asked me to take a laptop for him to give to his friend, and they I was like an 18-year-old kid. They asked me, "Is this your computer?" I'm like, "No, somebody gave it to me to give somebody else." And so of course they seized it, And so I'm like, "Oh, wrong
God, that's
answer."
hilarious.
I was the truth, right? I thought the truth was the right answer. I was a naive kid, but I got the kayak there, so I'm always happy, right?
Oh God!
And so we strapped that thing. He had like a bumblebee. They call it Fusca, like a beetle.
Okay.
In Brazil. And so we strapped that kayak to his Fusca.
Oh God, it's a good thing
beetle.
You guys are a little darker, because man, could you imagine two blonde-haired gringos driving a beetle through from the airport in Rio? Look, if you haven't been to the airport in Rio, it's not like I can remember the first time I landed in Rio, and all Amal had done was talk about how great Rio was. Like, dude, it's amazing, it's beautiful, the beaches, the girls. Right? Like, so I'm like getting ready to I can't wait to step off the plane here and see the beautifulness that is Rio.
Yeah.
And that's not the airport. That's not even anywhere near the airport, right? Like you step off and it's favela. It's favela on favela, and you're just like, oh my God.
It's like one of the worst neighborhoods. Worst neighborhoods, right? Yeah, right there. So yeah, and then of course he takes me to I'm already kind of driving through that right out of the airport. He takes me to the gnarliest restaurant, the downtown.
God, we all have the same experiences. We all have the same experiences. Let me hear yours. Go.
No, so I look on the menu. I'm like, what's this? Because it was before iPhones and those things.
Yeah, you couldn't look anything up.
Yeah, so it was. I was like, what's that? He was like, lizard. And so, yeah,
lizard. Did you eat it?
No, he's like, no, he's not just lizard. I think it said lizard tongue.
Lizard tongue.
Something like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Some tongue, yeah. And so I was like, okay, never mind.
I'm not hungry.
So it was pretty funny. And then there was like a homeless guy, taking a bath inside the restaurant to top it off, right?
Yeah, and Amal was in heaven.
Filthy.
Amal was in heaven. Yeah, Amal was in heaven. He's like, this is my place.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take you to the best restaurant in the world, Alberto. Man, wait till you go to this restaurant. Lizard tongue and homeless people bathing.
I'm like, okay, and then we went back to the island, right? The island in Barra de Tijuca,
right?
And he's like, take our bikes back to the apartment, because the house we lived on, there was only water access, so you had to paddle a boat to get there. And there's like these little green like plants that float around, and so I was like, okay, I had never paddled a boat before, so I get in the boat, and so I start paddling on you sit at the end, you paddle, right? You have to paddle on both sides. So I start paddling and I start going in a circle. And that day there just happens to be like a really, really strong current. It's like raining, right? Kind of raining too. And I'm like, holy shit! Like I'm gonna get pulled out, because when I pulled into Baja. What's that?
Did he leave you? Were you by yourself?
He left me. Yeah, he's like, just take it back. Like, it's an easy thing, And I'd never, I lived in New Mexico, Germany. Like, come on, New York. When am I going to paddle a boat? And so I just started spinning, right? And on our way into Baja, you see like the lagoon going out into the ocean. So I picture myself pulled out into the ocean.
And the reason you had to bring this kayak down was because he brought one down and got sucked out into the ocean.
Yeah. So so he's bringing that's a whole other thing, right? And I think he lost that one too.
Yes.
Well, he had to get saved by a helicopter, right? He was he made the news and everything, because he's bringing these river kayaks, and so when the wave hits the kayak, it goes into that skirt, and then it basically floods the boat, right, and pulls him down to the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
And so and then what's it called, the undercurrent pulls him out into the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, you're dead.
And so he almost died, and somehow they saw him, and the helicopter went and saved him, and he was on the news. Crazy gringo was trying to river kayak.
and then he has Rio you bring another one down, and he's like, "Yeah, you'll be fine."
Yeah,
take the boat.
Yeah. So I finally grabbed the side of the what do you call it, the land, and I pulled myself by rock to the original spot. But it was gnarly. I was like, I barely made it back. I was exhausted. I was like, oh my God. So I got back to the original spot pier kind of thing, mini pier. And I was like, hey man, I didn't make it. Like I don't know how to paddle. I don't know how to do nothing. I was super emotional. And he looked at me and he just laughed. I was like, he's like, it's all good, don't worry.
Dude, like those experiences are scary. I had one of them skiing this year. Like I was skiing and I was like, no, none of my friends could go, and I was by myself. And it started dumping, and there's all this snow I could barely see. I mean, I totally fucked up. I didn't have the right equipment. I didn't have the right goggles, nothing, And I tree-welled myself. You know what it is?
Oh, man.
You know what that is? But luckily, I was right side up. I wasn't head down.
Wow.
Dude, it took me 40 minutes to dig myself out.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And then when you're done with that experience, you're exhausted. Right, because you're like, I'm stuck. I'm not getting out of here, and there was no one. Like, no one could see me.
That's
right.
It. That's it.
And it took forever to get out. Like forever.
It was probably like 2 minutes, but it seemed like
no. I looked
like 2 hours.
I looked at my watch. It was 40. Okay, it was 40 to. It was like I think it was like 45 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And I tried to ski another run after that, and I couldn't because like all the adrenaline, right? Because you're scared you're gonna die. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm like, I'm going home today.
So all that I think was my first day, but it didn't fit. The first day ended where I went to bed, and there's like gunshots, like literally like next door. It has to be next door. That's what it sounded like. And so I was like, oh man, like I thought they were coming to the house to rob us or something. I don't know, like kill everybody. I had no idea, right? And so, oh man, I think I hid under the bed because I don't know what to do, like. And he walked in. He's like, "Where are you? Where you at?" And then I came out from underneath the bed. I don't want to admit it, but I was like, what do I do? Hide in the closet or the bed? What do I do?
I haven't laughed this hard at the podcast ever. This is amazing. And this is all your first day. Oh,
my first day. So that's how my first day ended. And I was like, okay. I woke up the next day, like, what the fuck am I doing here in Rio de Janeiro?
Fucking them all. Oh, God.
Man.
And now here we all are. Oh, man. Oh, that was hilarious, bro. Yeah. So somehow, man, after all of that, on your first day, you figured out how to win a tournament.
After like some years, right? So I ended up like losing and I mean, man, I have to say, like, okay, sure, I lost, right? Like, I don't know how many years, right? And it was really hard because I spent a lot of money. I went all different places, right? Like sleeping in the airports, doing whatever I needed to do, and I put everything into like winning,
Mm-hmm.
And I kept losing. I had to come back, and I was like the kind of leader of our little group of training, right, in Santa Fe and wherever else. And in Brazil, no, right? But still, like, people would make fun of me at the tournament, at the gym, at Draculino's gym. You're the pit bull at the academy, but at the tournament time,
Right.
And so I kept, so it was hard. I felt like dying, because I put everything into being there and trying to win, and it was like a long time. And so, but then finally, like right before like the '98 Worlds in Blue Belt, I finally won a tournament, and I wasn't just like, I would lose and just go away. I would watch like all the matches in my division. I would watch the guys that were winning and how they were winning. And I became like I was relentless, And then '98, like the Worlds, I got like a bronze medal. And it took me all the way to black belt, like at the top of on the podium and stuff, Yeah. But I was like, when you lose, you're like crushed. Like, I don't think I wanted to quit, but like you feel like dying, like part of you feels like you died, So You know what I mean?
I don't
hurts,
think, I don't think everyone feels
really
like
hurts.
this, but I know, yes.
I mean, yeah, but I was younger.
No, but I feel like this. I felt like this too. You put everything into it, right?
Yeah. I mean, it meant the world to me, you know. And so I got everything got taken away from me, and so I took it really hard, and so I kept at it, and then but when I finally won that tournament, then it went all the way to black belt, and I was one of the top guys all the way through black belt. And man, like it really taught me some lessons, man, for my life. Like every hardship, every part that everything that I've done in my life kind of comes back to that time in my life where I went through those hardships, and it made me like the person I am. So I'm like, man, there's not even words I can say that justifies the value that it's given to me. Yeah,
you don't even know what that is. Like people, like, God, like that's like when you and we're talking especially now at a combat sport, like a one-on-one combat sport. Somebody beat you up when you were losing. It wasn't like somebody kicked the ball in the goal more than you did. Right? Like, it wasn't like, you had 100 and they had 102. You got beat up. Another person held you down or did something to you physically. Like, that's a different kind, for everyone to understand. That's a different kind of losing. That's a different kind of feeling. That's not just like, okay, hey, you feel like less of a man. I mean, this is how I felt. Like especially at a young age, like you're not
trying to become a man, and
you're still not one.
It takes away your manhood.
You're not one.
I'm still a boy.
You're still a boy. I mean, when you're 25 years old, you're a boy. You're a boy. I mean, for most of us, I would say. And so you're still trying to figure out who the hell is Alberto Crane, and you don't have it yet. And this can be very devastating. Like, you watch this happen to young people. Like, everyone tries. Like, everyone that starts jiu-jitsu at a young age tries a tournament like once or twice. Mm-hmm. And if it goes well for them in the beginning, then normally they keep going. And if it doesn't, then they stop. Mm-hmm. But nobody loses 20 in a row. Mm-hmm. Just Alberto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now look, you have.
I think it was 13 tournaments.
All right, let's round it. Let's exaggerate, bro. Come on, you got to exaggerate for effect.
It was bad, not that bad, man.
No, man. You exaggerate for effect, homie, right? Because it's in the past. Because we have a success story here, right? So you have to make when it turned out well, you have to make the success, the bad parts of it sound even worse. You always exaggerate for effect when it turns out really well. When it doesn't turn out well.
I felt like dying, right? Felt like I died every time I lost, and I came back. And like you're saying, it's a combat sport. So, okay, this is jiu-jitsu in this context, right? Mm-hmm. Later on, it was MMA. Yeah. And I had those lumps to take too. But, in jiu-jitsu, you get hurt too, man. You get, like, my elbow got torqued, and all kinds of stuff, black, all kinds of limbs, and you come back limping back, and,
It's just the fact of how much you put into
your wounds, and you gotta wake up the next morning and be like, okay, I'm gonna try again. And man, those lessons, those character lessons, man, they're priceless for me in my life. Like, everything I have good is from those hardships, those couple of years. So it's such a blessing in disguise, really. I'm so grateful for those times.
That's why for my kids, that's why rule number 1 is you have to do jiu-jitsu. Because it teaches, like, okay, I get it. You got to learn it. I understand that you have to learn how to defend yourself, and this is very important. And I'm, like, downplaying that aspect of it. Like that aspect of it is very important for children, right? Like, my kids don't go to school and get fucked with because they've learned confidence, and they've learned confidence because of jiu-jitsu, because, like, that's what it does. But what it really does, and what it really, really does, is it teaches you how to grind. It teaches you how to suffer. It teaches you how to suck. It teaches you like how to bow on the mat again and go, all right, I'm going to get my ass kicked. And we're talking like
it's a process, right? Yeah. It's a process. And so they makes you surrender to the process. Like, you have a goal and you do whatever it takes to accomplish that. And that's a powerful thing, It's a powerful thing for our life, right?
Right. And I don't
achieve
care
what we want to achieve.
I don't care if they don't do jiu-jitsu for their life. That's fine. Like that, you know, like they don't have to do jiu-jitsu like as a profession, like, you know, like you and I do. But like that, like the message that it instills early on, especially in like super formative years, is invaluable. Invaluable, you know, because there's nothing else like it.
Yeah.
Because little kids don't like to get beat up. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's the worst thing in the world for a little kid to get held down. They hate it, right? When you wrestle with your kids, that's what makes them lose it when they're tiny, right? Like, get off me, daddy. Right? Like, I mean, like, I know my dad did it to me. I'm sure, you know, it's just, but to be able to just chill in there and like, okay, watch this. I'm gonna work out very calmly. And man, that's an invaluable lesson.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Jiu-jitsu is amazing.
So after your whole like, and now you're spreading that, right? Because after your whole, you know, professional career, you know, like, you know, if that's what we want to call all of our careers, you have a school, and you have two schools where you're a co-owner of another, right? Like, what has that experience been like for you? Like,
you know, so I started my first school in 2000 in New Mexico in Santa Fe. I was trying to figure out where I was going to go, and then we ended up building a second one before I moved. Like, so about 2005, I had a second one in Albuquerque. And they've, you know, and then 2007, I moved to Los Angeles. My son is 12 now, so 12 years ago is when I moved out here. And for the first few years, I was like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do another school. You know, I was like, man, it's a lot of work. I don't know if I really want to do it. And so I was just fighting for a couple of years. And then just some random Muay Thai gym that I was training at, he asked me to teach a jiu-jitsu class, like a random time, like at 10 a.m. And the class got full, and he's like, hey, can you teach 2 times a week? And I was like, sure, you know, of course. And then, can you do it 3 times a week? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I did it for free for like 6 months, right? Well, I did it for free. He wasn't paying anything. I just did it because I love it. And I was like, hey, guys, let's go do a tournament. And so I took 6 guys, and 5 guys got first place. And it was so rewarding. I was like, you know what? I need to do it again, you know, I need to do it again. So I started my first school back in 2009 here in LA. And then I was with Gracie Barra, and I ended up opening up like 6 gyms at one point. And then a few years back, like, there's like a lot of rules and stuff, and they're always cool with me. Like, they always let me do my way, you know? Yeah. And so they respect, but then, you know, it's gotten so big, right? It's just like, it's very just a business, you know? And so they emailed me, like, basically terminating my thing because of, you know, everybody has to have the same gis and this and that. And, you know, I'm like, if somebody can get a cheaper gi, I'm not going to make them buy a Gracie Barra gi or whatever, you know? So certain things, like, you know, just, I could have, you know,
I
whatever.
See it and
I just can't justify it.
I see it and I don't see it. Yeah, I just can't sleep.
Right.
I can't put my head on the pillow at the end of the night.
Yeah, you know, like, I don't really believe in it. Like, you know, the main thing is that they train for me, and that they get the benefits out of it. And so making like you know, it's not for me, it's for somebody else, not for the student's best interest, right? So that's and it's all good though. But it's all good. And then these got terminated. So I ended up actually, when I first started my gym here in LA in 2009, it was called Legacy. And so, but then the Master Carlos Gracie Jr., he asked me to join the Gracie Barra, the franchise. My students always represented Gracie Barra, but then he asked me to join the franchise thing. So I said yes. I'm not going to say no. And then, a few years later, so it was like 2000, maybe 13 or 14, maybe 14. So it was it 5 years now? Yeah, about 5 years.
5 years.
So we switched back to Legacy, you know, and I got out of all the schools, you know, and just down to one. And it made me realize having all those 6 schools, because I was managing all of them. I don't know, what makes me happy is like having relationships with the students. And so I really value that, you know. I really value coming in and teaching the classes, and, you know, talking to people, seeing people get good over the years, you know. That's what really matters to me and makes me happy. So I don't take it for granted, you know. And then when my black belt's George, he opened up the Legacy Glendale, and so I try to go there, you know, once a month with your with your guidance, you know. But you know, he opened up a school, Legacy Glendale. It's near here, you know, so it works out great because a lot of the guys can cross train. And it's going great, man. I love it. I'm super happy. My kids train. I live really near the school. My wife has a cafe, like acai cafe.
Acai, yes, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next door.
I have to say, like, a lot of times when people are like, hey, we're going to, like, let's go to this spot. You know, and it's, you surprised me is what happened here. It's literally like, oh, let's go to this spot, and you're like, oh, and you walk in, and then they're like, and you're hungry, right? Like out of time, they're like, oh, it's my wife's spot, and I'm like, oh, goddamn. Everyone thinks their wife's spot's amazing, right? like, you know, you're like, oh, motherfucker. All right.
Yeah, it's really popular in Los Angeles. Yeah, people come from all over. Yeah, people come from all over Los Angeles to eat here and stuff. Not just acai, but the food and just the environment. And
you weren't lying. It was great.
It's become a hot spot. Yeah.
Yes, it was great. You were not lying. And most of the time, people are lying. They're like, "Come over. You know, my wife makes a great chicken parm," and you're like, "Okay, she bought that. That's Stouffer's." You know, like that's you know, you bought that out of a box. All right, amazing. All right. You know, but no, you were, yes. So look, go. I mean, like the jiu-jitsu's great because you got Alberto, but goddamn that acai next door.
Acai Jungle Cafe.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it's good, man. I'm blessed, you know. Yeah. We have a nice jewel here in Burbank, or Legacy in Burbank, and then a Legacy in Glendale, and then live close, and I get to really live the jiu-jitsu lesson. And the last few years, I've been really getting into like movement practice, like really understanding like the biomechanics and nervous system. You know,
go ahead, bro. Evangelical out.
Yeah,
tell them,
like the tac fit.
Tell the people, tac fit.
Tac fit, man. Tac fit, club bells and tac fit and movement. Man, you know, like you need to, like, for people to learn jiu-jitsu better, to rehab, to prehab, you know, prevent injuries, makes your body just more resilient, you know, like really teaches you things at a basic level, like regressions, like simple, you know, simpler components, so you can really learn. Like,
you love it. It's
really changed my life. Like, it's given me a better understanding of jiu-jitsu. Everybody that does it, same thing, you know. It's just that there's been no marketing or anything behind it, so people don't know what it's about, you know. But even like on it academy, like they kind of
do it, The
idea, like basically like the guy who runs like their movement stuff, he was a tac fit director guy, you know.
I think people get scared of the fit thing, bro, because of CrossFit.
Yeah. You know? I mean, that's the thing. I got CrossFit certified. I was all into the thing. I was into it, you know. But like tac fit is what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Tac fit is one way. It's a smart way. Like you're not too stressed. It's the right stress. You want to make you better at your sport. Like, you know, like Scott Sonnen, the creator of the system, he always says, like, you don't want your strength conditioning to get in the way of your sport.
Yeah, that's what happened to me with
you want
CrossFit.
It to complement. Exactly. It's CrossFit's its own sport. And so that takes away from your sport. Right. You can't even train your sport, you know.
Dude,
but
I crushed myself. I crushed myself. My testosterone fell through my testosterone fucking dropped.
Yeah, man.
Because I killed myself for like 2 years.
Yeah, that's it. It's not the right training. You know, it's like we take our heart rate after thing. Like you want to be working with the sweet spot. You want to be stressed, but not too much stressed, right?
Right.
60-80% of your heart rate max. And so, like, it's all about getting in the technique, your breath with the correct structure and the movement. It's super technical, man. And it really, like, it changes the game, man. I really believe it's the right way, the perfect complement to jiu-jitsu and to anything. Really, you don't have to do jiu-jitsu, but the guy was a grappler. Scott Sonnen was a grappler. And so it's very, like, you feel it, you know. Mm-hmm. But it's for everybody, really. And so it's nice because we have, like, the tac fit here, and it's you know, I've worked really hard the last 3 and almost 4 years now. Sure. Like trying to learn it and practicing every single day. Like I just got back from my trip, you know, from Europe.
You text me like, I got to get a tac fit workout in. We were on at 10.
Yeah.
Right? And
so I just did so you know, you can make it wherever you want. And, you know, basically I did it. So like a kind of a recovery workout, you know, from, you know, sitting in the plane and all that and just whatever. It moved my body. Right. And so it's so nice. You can really make it to however you tailor it to however you want. And it's nice because you're in a group setting too. It's just like jiu-jitsu, you know, and you get the same benefits. All kinds of people are in the class. Man, it's and so, like, you know, I had the MS, like I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, like around 2000, like, was it 7 years ago now? 2000.
You were? I didn't know this.
Yeah, 2012, 13. I was supposed to do a routine MRI, fight MRI every 5 years. They make you do it in California and Nevada, and they had these brain lesions, you know. And I wasn't supposed to well, 5 years before for the UFC, they're like, they found something. They're like, we're going to let you fight. We're not sure, you know? And then 5 years later, it grew. And I had, taken some lumps in my fights and stuff. I got knocked out and some different things, but that's not from that. But they saw the lesions growing, they grew. And so they okay, we need to do some tests. And they didn't let me fight for one. And they called me in like a couple of days before the fight. And so I had to tell the promoter, hey, sorry, I can't fight. They said they're not going to clear me. And they're like, we need you to come and do all these tests. And so I did all the tests for like 3-4 months. And there's, a lot of disconnects. And, and then when you start to, you just deny. You're like, I'm good, right? But, the reality was when I was maybe around 30, like my son was first born, I was cutting weight and like different parts of my body started getting numb, like my arms and my legs.
Bro, I remember when we were in Canada. When we were in Canada, it was 2005 or 6.
Yeah, that was a hard, crazy hard cut, right? And so I just thought that all the years has really paid taking its toll on my body.
Yeah, it's coming
taking
back
my toll, on my body. So I was like, I just figured it's that, And then, it's just all these different things, like my balance, my different things. And all the years of jiu-jitsu and fighting and all that doesn't help like all your joints in your body, right? And then combined with like being knocked out, like my vestibular system, everything was kind of crooked. I was like balanced. I had a hard time walking, man, going on my bike, riding the bike and stuff. And so all this stuff, it's really like,
dude,
I could still compete, and I could still.
It brought you back to life.
It up,
Yeah, it brought you back to life.
I could still win tournaments, and I went on a world tour just because I thought, I was like, man, what if I can't compete in like 6 months or do anything again?
Right.
So I went on a world tour.
You were after it.
I went every month. I was competing. I did a world tour, and like it kind of ended with like Eduardo Tellez was like, there was like a No-Gi Worlds, and he was in my division. He was always heavier than me,
right? And
I was fighting heavier because I was cutting weight. And I was like, okay, cool. He had just won the No-Gi Worlds too, like 2 years before, beating Felipe Peña. So it's like, okay, and he was on the Jiu-Jitsu magazine cover that month. It's like, okay, this is legit world championship, even though it was a Master 2 division.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. And so then we met up. We both made it to the finals, and the finals was the second day. The first day is like the prelims, and the second day was the finals. So I was like, okay, this is it. And I didn't sleep all night because I was so worked up about it, like it meant a lot to me. And so I won. For me, that was like, okay, cool. And then I had, the next week I had another tournament, and the week after that I had another tournament. So, but that was like kind of the ending for me. Like, I was like, okay, I got this, I got this. And like I can win, basically I can beat this thing, yeah. And then I went to the TACFIT cert. Like Scott, Scott Sonnen, the creator of the TACFIT system, he had always invited me. So I finally went, and it's beautiful, man. It's like so perfect. Like the multiple sclerosis, like it tears down the myelin. So your nerves have a fatty tissue. It's called myelin. And basically you start getting disconnected. And when you learn a new skill too, like learning, right? Like you lay down layers of myelin. So that's how your technique and how you learn skills, like playing instruments, learning jiu-jitsu, fighting, whatever, like that's how you learn the skills. You layer those myelin layers down. And so in the process of like the TACFIT, the breath with the movement, the structure in the movement, like I was laying down like layers of myelin, and just things started to getting more connected, and forget about this being in shape, but just, man, like,
right.
Like I started dreaming again. I hadn't dreamt for like 10 years. Like things started happening inside of me, and I was like, something's going on, and I just it's like a way of life for me really now, with jiu-jitsu.
It almost sounds like you had a spiritual experience.
I did, man. It's really changed my life. Like I was, like you hear all these, if you go online and you look on YouTube, like MS, and it's kind of gnarly, like people in wheelchairs and all that, and man, when I went to the doctor, this is what they told me, man. They gave me a stack of books, a stack of drug books. Like, let us know which one you want to take. And so I started. Well, that's what they told me. So I get there, and okay, you have it. Sorry, you have it. Blah blah. The main doctor for all the fighters and stuff, right?
Right.
And so then they gave me a stack of drug books, and I was walking out of there. Everybody's like somebody died. Oh, so sorry, because I can't fight anymore, right? And I asked him, can I still do jiu-jitsu? And he's like, yeah. And that's why I went on that world tour, because I was like, fuck, what if I'm in a wheelchair in 6 months, And so I went on a world tour, I did whatever, like, I'm going to go for it. And then those drug books, like, okay, I started doing research, and like, it may or may not help. Like, most of the time it blocks stuff from working on the inside anyway.
Right.
Like food, movement, the right kind of movement, and like your lifestyle, stress management, and that's all what TACFIT is. It's like your stress management,
Right.
Like learning how to like deal with your stress. So everything's working, like all your hormones, like, your immune system, all this stuff is working, neuro, like this, the force, man, like it's really like raises your energy level like jiu-jitsu does, but it's nice because it can regress things down to a simple level. So you can really learn things. And so it really teaches you how to teach better, how to learn better. It's like optimization system, man. It's really something else.
For sure.
The guy had like, he overcame a lot of like learning disabilities when he was a kid. He was even institutionalized. And so, so he made this, call it fitness system, but really it's an optimization system, and it goes so well with jiu-jitsu that like it's kind of I do it every day, and my wife, everybody in my family, they have a pain, they know what to do. They do like a little movement and it goes away.
Damn.
So what is that worth? My mother-in-law, any kind of stuff, like any kind of thing, Mm-hmm. And I'm studying all these like functional neurology things, like your son, you were telling me about, like a vestibular thing,
dude,
right?
You helped me with that, man, without a doubt.
I'm
took him to somebody and it worked.
I'm going deeper and deeper and deeper, into these things. And so they actually made me the director of the TACFIT, the creator, like a few months ago, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago.
Look at you.
And so, what's that?
I said, look at you. Damn, bro. Good work.
Yeah. Like
follow your passion, man.
Yeah.
Follow your passion.
And so, I'm being in negotiations now he had a partner for 22 years. And so I'm looking to buy him out, actually now. And like for me, it's not about the money, like I just really believe in it, that it can really help people like be their best. And I just believe in it so much, that I don't need to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Like, I don't need to do it, but I feel like I have to do it, because it fucking works, man. It works.
Yeah.
It really works. It really changes people's lives. Jiu-jitsu does too, but this, like I was telling you, like, not everybody, they can't do jiu-jitsu, right? But not everybody wants.
Not
to
everyone's going to get beat up. This is a hard thing.
But yes, exactly. But everybody can.
Everyone wants that. Everyone exercises.
Everybody can do TACFIT. Everybody can do TACFIT, and they can get the same benefits. It's like a martial art. It's like a kata, basically.
Right.
It's like katas,
I'm gonna
super technical. It's but you have to have somebody show you. You can only then have people teaching it. So I'm hoping to help out with that and have people like. We have some great coaches here now that we're trained up, and
nice. I'm gonna change the subject for 1 sec because we're talking. No, it's okay. No, we're talking about like following your passion, and I'm gonna talk about where it goes wrong a little bit. I've been watching it a little bit. I watched this thing. God, BJ Penn.
Yeah.
Like, God, have you, man, it's like, and I've been watching it on Ariel a little bit, and it kind of came up with you talking about like, getting hit in the head and all this stuff. Like, fuck, man, what is going, like, how in the world is BJ still fighting?
It's a drug, man, fighting is like a drug. And so like it's hard to let go, because you get high, like,
but we know what's going on here, right? Like, come on, what is Dana doing? What is the UFC doing here? Like, because they're not even making money off of him, right? Like, it's not like, because Ariel put it great. 80% of the people that are watching the UFC right now have no clue who BJ was. Right, like BJ was a killer. BJ's an all-time great. And right now, people think he's a scrub because he hasn't even been close. He hasn't even been close to a win. He should have retired when I retired. We should have retired the same fucking night because Nick Diaz beat his ass so bad in that fight. And you could see he just didn't have it anymore. And it's sad. It's really, really sad, and like that man, it's got to there's got to be something here where where you get people out because this is like, in my opinion, just asking, like that boxer just died. Did you see that Russian boxer?
Yeah,
dude, we haven't had one yet like that in MMA, and man,
yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard, you know. It's hard, like the corner wanting to start to stop the fight. The fighter wants to keep fighting. Like, you're ready to fight to the death, you know, to win. Like, you know how it is, you know, like you're ready to die to win.
In the fight, like, it's not the fighter's job to stop the fight. In the fight, that's the corner's job. Like that, I don't blame that fighter for not saying that.
For sure.
And Buddy McGirt in that boxing match did the right thing. Yeah,
for sure. What I'm saying is like that. It's the mindset, right? Like you, and it's good, right, for life if you apply that you know, overcoming adversity, and the mindset to win no matter what. You know, it can really help you, but it's letting go out of that arena and like knowing there's other things, like there's the rest of your life, you know. And it's hard to let go, man. It's
Dude,
hard
he's
to let
got
go.
kids,
like,
man.
It's gotta, and it's gotta come from him, you know. It's gotta come from him.
I get it, man. You get it, right? Like, what would you have not done? Like when you were fighting, right? What would you have not done when you were in the UFC? What would you have given in your life to be the champion for, I don't know, a day? Like if they would have been like, Alberto, here you go. You are the champion. You are the world champion. You really earned that shit. What would you have given?
I don't know, man.
I would have given everything.
I'm really happy.
No.
Yeah, I mean, right now.
Back then.
You're talking to me now?
Back then.
Yeah,
back
I would have given everything. Yeah, I would have given my life. I would have given my life.
If they said, yo, Alberto, you can't talk to your mom again, but you're going to be the world champion of the UFC, I probably would have done it.
Yeah, I would give it. I'm ready to die, you know.
Yeah,
I'm ready to die to do it.
But now,
I'm ready to die.
Past that, kids, family.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the experience that you just had with your kids that's amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I'm good. Yeah. There's no.
How do we get like, BJ to see that?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's got to come from him. You got to have.
Course.
That's why it's so important to have I mean, he has the jiu-jitsu. Right, like, but you see a lot of guys that with jiu-jitsu backgrounds are able to let go a lot easier. It seems like, right? Because they have a background, they have something
they can always
else
train.
Fall back on.
Yeah, we love jiu-jitsu.
You know, so that helps. You know, but like it's hard. You know, and I would think that BJ, but I think he's kind of lived a kind of a rough lifestyle too, right?
But I don't think he has the jiu-jitsu like we have the jiu-jitsu, right? Like because
he got it so fast.
Well, one he got it so fast, but he didn't really have like a teacher, right? Like he was like a vagabond.
Yeah.
He was all over.
Yeah. There you go.
You know,
there you go. That's why it helps to have like those mentors. You know.
Yeah, that's why you need them all in your life.
And have a Draculino.
You need them all in your life.
These guys. Man. You know, like these guys that watch your back and be straight with you. Hey, man, you know, you need to fucking stop. You're like, okay. You're like, okay, you're right.
Yeah, that's what happens
you
sometimes.
You listen to them.
Yeah.
You listen to them.
Because they're not yes men.
You know?
They've been there when you weren't.
They tell you how it is. They tell you how it is. Hey, man, you need to fucking stop, you know?
Yeah.
You know, to think about this, that, like there's, you know, like a dad in a way, right? Like a dad, fucking like a dad.
A dad, a big brother, that something, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody they have your back, you know, they have your best interest.
Fuck yeah. Well, all right, man. So, I appreciate you coming on and talking. Amazing stories, man. Amazing stories. You know, oh God, I'm gonna call them all as soon as we get off this phone call. I already said, like, dude, there was one part when I took a video of your face on my Skype, and then like turned it around to the podcast. And I'm like, bro, Alberto and I are destroying you right now, and I sent it to them all.
Hilarious.
So, all right, man. I appreciate it, Alberto. You're the man, bro.
Yeah, man. All right, brother.
All right, have a good one.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, thanks for listening to this episode of The Gospel of Fire. Don't forget to check me out on all of my social media at FireMarshal205. Again, at FireMarshal205. Go to my YouTube channel. FireMarshal01, that is, for YouTube, where you can follow. I'm making these videos 100K strong. That's the goal for the year. I want 100,000 strong listeners to the Gospel of Fire. So I'm trying to make a video a week so that you guys can follow along on my journey of how I go about my day, some things that I talk about, some things that I try to work on for myself. And then finally, don't forget my website, EliotMarshall.com, where you can get up to date with everything that has to do with me personally, the Gospel of Fire. You're going to find all about my book release, also called The Gospel of Fire, February 12th. It will be for sale on Amazon that whole week for 99 cents. So all that information at EliotMarshall.com. Thanks again for listening. Thanks to my sponsors, Evo Labs and On It. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode.